we will understand what is Dellboomi. So Dellboomi is basically an iPaaS tool. Dellboomi is basically an iPaaS tool. iPaaS stands for integration platform as a service. So what is mean by the integration platform as a service? So if you just go back to before iPaaS era, the way how this integration tools was there, it will basically comes as an whole integration package. So you need to install the package, and you need to set up installation, and you need to maintain your product and everything within your enterprise. It means only the product will be given once you pay the license cost. After the license cost, the enterprise need to set up all the installation, and they need to procure all the am I audible to you guys? Because I was just seeing the chat message, so Siddhar was unable to audible.
Audible.
Okay, I think say that there could be some issue at our end. Okay, so the legacy things is right. So there will be a lot of infrastructure need to be procured at client end, and they need to set up, and they need to maintain it, and they need to keep on regular updates, need to then clean up activities. A lot of additional activities need to be taken in the regular integration tools. So now how iPaaS will basically came into the picture and then start. I'm just going to brief you how integration came into the picture, and then we'll just see what are the different integration tools are there, and how Boomi is so simple in that space. So the first thing, we have different things called iPaaS. There are different levels are there. Like I can say, the first thing is iPaaS. Before that iPaaS, there is a things that all these things are maintaining in the infrastructure. What all this infrastructure maintaining is, first thing is, if you might have heard, right, Salesforce. Salesforce also a cloud-based application. So basically, there is one more thing called IaaS, infrastructure as a service. iPaaS, platform as a service, and then SaaS. Okay, so this Dellboomi is an iPaaS integration tool. When I say iPaaS integration tool, it will be falling into the second category. What are the first one? These are the three different types of service providers. Now everybody, you can see Amazon, you can see Azure, a lot of things are available in the market. So all these things will falling into one of the categories. iPaaS in the sense, let's say if you want to install anything on the platform, you basically need a machine, you need some hardware, and you need some RAM, and you need some Windows or Linux, some operating system need to be available. Okay, some operating system need to be. It means you need to procure license, and thus only you will be get the infrastructure. None of the applications will be installed. That is called IaaS. So basically, you will be getting Azure infrastructure, or Azure or Google infrastructure will be there. So a lot of things are there. So even Amazon also. iPaaS is basically whatever the integration tools, it could be a Dellboomi, it could be any other tool, but whatever the integration package that basically required, all these things will be installed on IaaS. You need to have some platform. Let's say if you have a laptop, all the laptop is comes under even IaaS. You have a mesh, you have a hardware, you have physical machine is there, and that you have Windows. All these things are there. In real time, even you will be charging all these things license. So now how basically it came, we going with cloud approach, how basically it solves the problem also. I'll explain to that. I'll come to that point next. Now iPaaS is the where the Boomi is falls under this category. It means Boomi is already acquired some infrastructure. On that infrastructure, all the integration platform, whatever the things required for Dellboomi, all these things will be installed on this level. It means if it's a iPaaS is already part of infrastructure, also a part of this. So it includes the IaaS and iPaaS will be there. When it goes to SaaS, it means you have an infrastructure IaaS, and that you have required install some applications relevant to that, and you made applications with that they have already given. Let's say as Salesforce. Salesforce is a complete cloud package. You don't need to install anything. It means on behind things, they have a servers and the infrastructure is there. That's basically called the IaaS. And on that, they have installed some their Salesforce specific packages, applications. On that package, they have created the ready-made tool Salesforce application. So, but in our case, Boomi, so you will be only getting the Boomi platform. Under that, you will be creating an application. with Dellboomi technologies. So initially it was Boomi. So later on it was acquired by Dell. So now this is the three types of categories: IaaS, iPaaS, and SaaS. So now Boomi is coming in iPaaS. Okay, how does it know? It solves the problem basically. The problem is basically how it solves is, let's say you are a customer, okay, you are an end client, and maybe you are a very small size integration, small size enterprise where you have very little small integration requirement is there. So let's say you are procuring, if you don't have this cloud-based approach, you are going to procure a hardware machine for setting up your infrastructure and install your software, and then you are maintaining it, but you are not efficiently using that product. You have a lot of memory and all these things are there, but you are only using one person, and within enterprise it will be installed and it won't be shared it across other things. So but that was a lot of license cost and expenses will be incurred. But when it goes to cloud, if you see, iPaaS is a Dellboomi. This is the only one platform, and with this platform, lot of customers already using the same tool. It means infrastructure is only once and customers are using many. So it means when it comes to end users, the license will be charged very minimal, because they are not going to give you the infrastructure for every customer. Infrastructure is one, and that is shared across that is called a term called multi-tenant. That your tenant is called basically user, multi-tenant. So Dellboomi is basically a hybrid multi-tenant tool. So when you say multi-tenant, it is a Dellboomi is a multi-tenant tool. So all your integration platform that is given, you will be only given an access to a cloud URL called platform.boomi.com. How you can open a Boomi? This is how you can open. Just go to Boomi, you will be getting this site. So you just need to install it. I'll tell you how to go with trial account, all these things, but you just need to log in here. So then how it likes, it will just go log in, how it looks like, So here, so it means whatever the platform you're seeing, the platform is common across every client. So that's why compared to native integration tools, what they used to do, they product the license. They'll give us the installation package. You need to install everything and you need to maintain infrastructure. So that basically a lot of cost will be a lot of cost to the client. So that's where the iPaaS basically came into the trend, and it was a booming market. So now this is a lot of license cost, lot of integration tools, like all the integration leaders in the earlier, not in iPaaS, so TIPCO, and then web methods and the Oracle Fusion. There are a lot of different methods. Web methods is from Software AG, and Microsoft also has a BizTalk. Like a lot of integration products are there. All these integration tools are now migrating to iPaaS, Dellboomi, or even the IBM Sterling integrator. Is a lot of products are there. All these products are migrating to Dellboomi to reduce the licensing cost in terms of a customer perspective. That is the main, because in terms of everything will be a multi-tenant platform. You don't need to purchase everything, entire thing. It will be, Boomi will be setting up and will be using the same infrastructure by a lot of products, and then will be a license will be there. Okay. So now we understand what is Dellboomi and how the multi-tenant means, what does multi-tenant means, and where is in the infrastructure service providers where Boomi is basically fitting into this. So now we will try to understand, why do we need to use a Boomi? Why can't we without integration? When you say integration, Boomi is a part of this. Without integration, can't we directly connect the applications? Yes, we can connect the applications, but there is a problem with this. So first, let's try to understand the problem. Okay, let's say you are an end customer. Okay, probably you will be an end customer. Okay, so let's say you are an end customer. Let's say you are trying to accessing some internet banking. Let's say maybe let's say SBI or whatever is. So you are a customer of SBI. You are trying to get the services from the SBI. Let's assume that you don't have any integration layer in between them. Okay, if you just assume that you don't have any integration layer, basically I can call as middleware, we can call it as, because it sits between this is the called front end, we can call it as, and this is called as back end. So in between the front end and back end, middleware layer will be sitting. Okay, first we'll try to understand if middleware is not there, what happens. okay, as a customer, okay, I wanted to, just wanted to get the account details. I want to get an account details, but in real time, how it happens, a lot of backend systems will be there. Lot of backend system will be, your current account will be there, some system, and saving account will be there, some system, your loan accounts will be some systems, like individual different systems will be there, payment gateway will be handled at different systems, like all these things will happen, every individual systems is there. If you are not using any middleware, let's say what happens here is, let's say you want to get a current account details. So you, as a front end application, maybe it could be an jQuery or Angular JS, whatever is or Java, anything else they will be using a front end. They need to write a code to connect to this particular backend systems. So mainly, for banking related things, they'll go either, earlier they were using mainframe from IBM, but now they are using Finacle, whatever it could be a product. Okay, but if you want maintaining one of the backend system, you want to get an account details, right? Account detail. Let's say you're passing an account ID. You want to get this saving account details. What you basically do is you will write a code over here. All your code will be writing over here in the front end. You don't have any middleware as of now. Just think that. So in that case, what happens? So tomorrow, client in terms of license cost or some other performance issues, whatever you wanted to navigate to some other different product, or that could be one issue. Okay, you wanted to change this product to some different. Let's say most of the mainframes clients are moving to Finacle, other things. Now what happens here is there is no change here. There is no change here. Basically, only change is backend was changing, but since it is been this. Getting this account details was part of this front end code. Even though there is no change in the front end, it is impacting this one also. It means it is impacting in the sense it will require a code change and it will do a lot of regression testing. Everything should happen. But what if, okay, because there is no middleware layer here. That could be one reason. If any backend systems are changes, even entire things will be there. That is basically called as point-to-point connection. All P2P connections will be there. So this is called tight coupling. Because of one system changes, other systems are going to impact your other systems as well. So now let's see what could be the other one. Okay, now you have the same functionality. The service, let's say account details. You are passing an account ID, you are getting your account details. Same account detail service. You want to extend. Probably you are using a web version here. Okay, you are using web version. Tomorrow you wanted to extend the same functionality on a mobile version. Tomorrow you wanted to use the same version to, and it could be something like or ATM or something like this. Okay, same functionality you wanted to get this. So in that case, because since this particular service is not a separate component, this is part of hard coded here. I mean, coding was done in the layer. So same effort, whatever the effort you put for developing this particular service, you'll also put the same effort here for developing ATM, for developing, for mobile and other things. It means there is no code reusability, and any system changes, it will be impacted. So that's where the middleware came into the picture. Okay, forget about these things. You always comes to me. Okay, and any user, he always comes to me. I can just give you the service. You give me an account number or something. I'll connect all rest of the services. It could be anything. It could be any other. So tomorrow, like there would be one more issue. Without integration, we don't know what Finacle is using, what kind of data formats, what connection format, whether it is front-end system, back-end system are compatible, whether front-end system has an ability to connect these things and all. A lot of technology dependency will comes here. So if you go to middleware, if these things comes, middleware has all types of technologies. Middleware is basically comprised of package suite, all the technologies, all the protocols and everything will be included here. So if you're going with middleware, you don't need to worry about whether my system is compatible with my backend system or not. You don't need to worry about. So middleware, you just give an account number. So middleware will give you an account service, and that account service will be interacting with a front end. So tomorrow anything comes, okay, you just go ahead and you can just go ahead and use this ATM also. You can just go ahead and call this. And if any new channel comes, you go ahead and use my service. You're not directly interacting with any backend systems here. So what is advantage of we are getting here with the middleware? If you are not interacting, any changes happen from backend, it won't even impact the front end systems. It won't even impact the front end systems. That is the main advantage. So in that context, what we can say, these all systems. So within an enterprise, you have more than 20, 100 systems also. That depends on your enterprise client IT landscape. It could be 100 systems also there, because every account management and planning systems, investment systems, a lot of things will be there. So you as an integration will be able to connect all these middlewares, all these backend systems. It can have able to establish connection, and front end, all these channels will have only one interface that is called middleware. So you can connect all anything changes happen, only the changes will happen from this part to this part. If any system they wanted to remove or any new system they wanted to introduce, only this part to this part only have change. Front end part, there is no change happens here. That is called basically loosely coupling these things. So always should be loosely coupled. Otherwise, adapting to new technology, adapting to the new features, and digitalization, it will be a very big challenge. That's the old without integration. It was identified, and they have come up with a lot of features of integration, iPaaS, service bus, like additional things also there. You might have heard a lot of messaging platform tools also came into the market. Amazon SQS and a lot of Amazon Q services, like all in color from same category. So this is the why integration is really required. What are the advantages we will be getting with the including of the integration? We will get, first thing is loosely coupled, another thing is that technology dependency we can overcome. So whatever, you don't need to worry about whether you are running on a Windows or your client is running on mobile, whatever the platform, whatever the device, forget about. So as middleware should be able to provide a service. A service can be consumed by anybody, and any changes happen to that only from middleware to backend. So there is no changes in the contract. When I say contract, what is the inputs you are passing to get these services from client to from front end to middleware, that won't be changed. Only the change happens from the middleware to backend. Any changes happen, that will be safeguard. Your middleware layer will be safeguard, and it loosely couples, and it will be easy to replace any of the technologies down the line as per a client requirement. That is the main part. So this is common across all things. It's not specific to a Boomi. It's not specific to any. This is the overall integration. The Boomi is part of one of the integration tool. Middleware to backend. Any changes happen, that will be safeguard. Your middleware layer will be safeguard, and it loosely couples, and it will be easy to replace any of the technologies down the line as per a client requirement. That is the main part. So this is common across all things. It's not specific to a Boomi. It's not specific to any. This is the overall integration. The Boomi is part of one of the integration tool. Okay. So any questions so far? If anyone have any questions, you can just directly stop me. Okay, just give me a minute. I was just trying to log into my Boomi. See, this is how it looks like Boomi. Okay. Once you log into Boomi, you have a lot of services will be there. The one what we're talking about is the integration one mainly. So you have a lot of things. Boomi provides an integration service. Boomi provides, this is a master data management, MDM, MDH basically called, but it is in general integration terminal, they'll call it as MDM, master data management. You'll get a lot of products also, MDM products will be there. And the one more thing is called API management. API management is basically managing how effectively you can manage, how to enforce the securities and things and all. So, and this the flow is a one more product. The flow is basically you wanted to build any apps or user interface apps, maybe kind of workflows. Boomi has 4-5 years ago they have acquired some company called Manywho, that was integrated into flow. So it's basically whenever you want to interact any with BPM related activities, if you are, it's not a full-fledged BPM, but to some extent you can able to create an UIs. If you want to get some user inputs and you want to continue flow there, you will be using the flow. Basically, whenever human intervention is there and you want to present something like a graphical interface and take some inputs, and based on the inputs you wanted to take it, proceed forward, you'll go with the flow. And as part of this, our training, what we will cover is the basic integration, and also we'll cover the API management. So these are the two things we'll basically cover. So we'll just go through this, how to create a trial account here. So if you want to create a trial account here, basically you have two options to create a trial account. One is a free trial here, but always I suggest don't go with this option because you'll get a very limited features, and that too is valid for 30 days. But now Boomi giving an option called, go to services training and services and training, and you can just go to training and certifications. And here you will get the one more option called, you will get an access to Boomi LMS, Learning Management System. So with this option, what you can do is you can sign up. I think probably basically expect a business email. Once you go sign up here, you will get LMS access, learning management. So some basic level of Boomi videos will be given, and it explains the fundamentals, all these things. And this is a single point of login where you can get, and once you complete the training, you can go ahead and take the certifications, and you can download certifications whenever you want. So all the new features, whatever the education materials Boomi wanted to provide, all these things will be available over here. So once you click on sign up and sign in here, you will get an access to a learning management system. Along with that, even you get an access to Dellboomi platform also. The platform, how it looks like platform is here, because I don't have, my account was expired here, and I have an access to other accounts. I was part of, the X client, the PayPal client earlier. So I was given access to my other things, but I don't have an access to my training account. My training account was expired over here. So that you can see the other accounts are there, but these accounts I don't have any access to this. So you can see that the build tab was not there. So how basically have is you have only 3 tabs: build, deploy, manage. Something will be there and down. Once you have an access to build, deploy, manage, you can able to build all your processes on the build tab and manage. You can just go ahead and deploy it, and then you can manage it. So that is a 3-step process in Boomi, and very user friendly graphic UI is there. You don't need to learn any prerequisite things. If you have anything like prerequisite as an SQL or XML, how does XML looks like, what is JSON basically. If you have very minimal knowledge, you can ready to start with the Boomi integration, Boomi middleware. You have a lot of opportunities are there outside. And for Boomi, only one thing is required is Boomi is not 100% user friendly tool, but till some extent, 95% of the requirements can be achieved without custom scripting. But there is a 5%, the mapping transformations, are simple if else conditions that you might need to write it, and we don't have that flexibility of writing user friendly, but we need to go with a custom scripting. The custom scripting options will be a Boomi. So in case if you are Boomi has a supports custom scripting is called, one is a Groovy. One is Groovy supports. Groovy is basically a subset of the Java one. So it's a scripting language. Whatever the Java things are there, all this Java, I can say Java is a subset of Groovy. So all you either Groovy script or JavaScript. You can write any of these scripting languages to achieve the out of box functionalities what Boomi is from apart from Boomi provided. So it could be a chance, in the real time, without writing a small if else conditions, you'll not be able to complete the mappings. You might be, but these simple if else conditions, right? It will be, we could have learned in our engineering or BSc computer. So like we could have learned what is if some particular condition true, do an action, otherwise do action. Very simple conditions will be there. But if you are just Google it, you will get all these things. But that is still required. That is only required. 5% of effort will be required. All 95% you can achieve with the drag and drop functionalities. So that how user friendly Boomi is. So you just need to learn only the Boomi platform. You don't need to learn any prerequisite things. That's the main here. So if you go to any other integration tools or like TIPCO, other things, they mainly use XPath and XSLT, all these things. You need to have an understanding of this that particular tool, XPath. If you don't write, you cannot put any conditions. Here you don't. There is no other technology dependencies over here. You can learn and you can ready to start with this. So here, and one more thing, you have what all other options are there in case if you're stuck with this. Okay, you have a settings. You can go to the account information. So you can, there is one more basic fundamental difference compared to other integration tools. The other integration tool basically is how the license applies it here. That is the unique approach Boomi came with this, unique approach Boomi came with this licensing part. That is another reason most of the integration products was coming to Boomi. So here in other integration tool, how it happens is, as a client, so let's say if you are using the client, right? Let's say you are using something like TIPCO or any other product, what they will do, you pay X, X dollars for a month, they'll be giving the product and you'll be using that product. So how many services you want to deploy, how many connections you want to deploy, how many backend systems you want to connect, that is completely depends on you, because infrastructure, everything will be provided by the client A. So they are only give the packages. But here, if you go with Boomi, what they will do, the charging will be licensing on not entire product. They will be charged based on the number of unique systems you are connecting. how many unique systems you are connecting. Based on that, if you are connecting 10 systems, you pay the connections of 10 charges. Systems are connecting. Let's say you are connecting.
Do you have any doubts? Ask in Telugu also, guys.
Yeah, if anybody is free, you can any questions, right? You can just jump in and you can just ask your questions. Whatever is even I'm comfortable with Telugu because I'm from Andhra, so I can even clarify all your questions. No need to be, and please feel free to ask whatever the questions you have. So number of systems you are connecting, the licensing is basically applied. This is the most unique difference in Boomi. So the Boomi is not going to charge license for using their UI product. They only charge the license number of connections. How does they track these connections is whenever you deploy a process, Boomi has an inbuilt thing. It will scan your process and see how many connectors you've done. Out of the how many connectors, how many is already deployed, how many is undeployed connections are there. So whether you have sufficient license number of licenses procured or not. Based on, let's say you have 10 licenses you procured, and after 10 license, 5 license already you deployed it, and you are deploying a process that contains 7 connectors, and out of 7, 5 was already reusing what already deployed it. So we have only 2 connections then. Only need to see. But since we have still 5 more connections, deployment will be proceeded. And if you are deploying a process that contains 15 connectors, out of the 15, 5 was existing, 10 were new connectors, so deployment will be stopped there only. That is how basically Boomi controls the licensing things. If you need any additional licensing, you need to procure license. Otherwise, deployment will not happen. You cannot run the processes in local mode. You have an option to run in local mode as well as deployment mode. Local mode always will be very limitations. A lot of limitations are there because huge data you cannot process it. You cannot set up a scheduling things. So always deployment mode we need to run it. That is where number of licensing will be applied based on the number of interfaces you are deploying, number of systems you are connecting. That is how the unique approach Boomi has. All the products was basically the number of how much time using the product. That's how the product will be charged. License will be there. That's one of the unique things here. So if you, in case of any issues, okay, any issue, all this information you can track it from the settings, account information. Go to account information, and then you have a lot of email alerts you can configure in case of your atom is down. Other things. Okay. So one more thing we need to talk about things is fundamental thing is what are the different environments are there. Whether you have an runtime environments are there. Runtime environments will be called an atom. Atom is basically a runtime. Once you create any processes, okay, all these processes will be run on atom. So it means this is like a server, we can say in other programming language. These are the two things will be there. This is a single instance. This is a single instance here. So what is mean by single instance is here, if your atom is down, okay, your atom is down, then entire services that it was deployed on this particular will be down. But whereas here, this is the high availability will be there. When I say high availability, molecule is basically a clustered mode clustered mode runtime. You have molecule, physically molecule will be one, but it will be logically it will be more than 2 nodes, 3 nodes will be, each node will be become like an atom. I can say it's a group of atoms. If one atom goes down, other atom can just make your processes will be running on without any service interrupt. So that's these are the 2 types of there. But okay, when Boomi supports integrating the applications across your cloud applications as well as on-premise applications. When I say on-premise applications, which is running and deployed behind your firewall. So let's say databases. A lot of internal they have a databases, and SAP is one of the main enterprise that is will be installed behind and firewall. So this is called behind enterprise. If anything installed behind firewall, basically called as on-premise, or if you also called as non-cloud. Boomi has an ability to integrate cloud as well as non-cloud applications as well. In order to achieve that, you have a flexibility. Where do you want to deploy your atom? Whether you want to deploy in a cloud, whether you want to deploy it in molecule. That 2 options are there. That is given an option to the customer. Depends on the requirement. They can select either go with atom, they go with the local
setup of an atom, because it means you need an infrastructure to install this molecule, and but still updates will automatically taken care by the Boomi. But only thing is, where do you want to run it? Whether you want to run it in cloud, whether you want to run it cloud, also there is two more options is there. Whether you want to go with the Boomi cloud, whether you want to go with public clouds, like Google, a lot of cloud providers are there, Azure, Google, lot of things are there. So even those things also there. So where do you want? That is depends upon the infrastructure, client infrastructure, and client has security constraints. Some clients basically think that whatever the services, the interfaces that you are running on Boomi environment, I want that everything should be there in my environment. I don't want to keep anything in the Boomi cloud because of security. Because whenever you run an interface, always the logs will be there. Some sort of metadata information will be there about your business. Even some people will not trust, but it doesn't mean that Boomi doesn't give any security, but always gives. But due to some regulations format, so every client has their own regulations in terms of data security. Depends on the geographic where they were. That could be the other reason they go with local atoms, local runtime environments. So these are the things. Molecules or atom is the one runtime, basically we can call it as. Molecule is a cluster base, atom is a single base. So in most of the real times, you can see UAT and production will have a molecule. In case of dev environment, SIT environments, you will see a atom. But higher environments always will have a molecule, because always should be achieve high availability, fault tolerant. High availability, fault tolerant means if two things basically will achieve with molecule. One is a load balancing. When a lot of requests comes, it will distribute it, because it has molecule is a multi-node. One node can take few jobs, another node can take few jobs. Other thing is if one node goes down, other node can take and process your interfaces. That's basically achieved with molecules. So always go with the molecule options for the higher environments. Lower environments, they go with atoms, single instance runtimes. I think I actually, unfortunately, I don't have access. I need to reactivate my training account. So basically, you can do when you just log in into this training certifications, and you can reactivate your training account. Account will be activated in 10-15 minutes. So, but always I suggest you to go with sign up, and then after you go with here, what the difference in terms of platform access, what you get it is you will get a 60 days access. You'll get it here if you go with this option. You will get only 30 days, but not all the features. Maybe I can say that 40-50% features only you'll get it. Like deployment you cannot do. Without deployment, you cannot set up a scheduling. You cannot create any web services over here. Like all this, there is dependency if you go with these options, and a lot of reusability things options, like processing the same process again. You are not able to get this. So initially, this is a free trial account was given by initially long back when Boomi was initially introduced. But later on, they came up with training LMS portal, learning management systems. It means basically they give some extensive information about their products by giving some videos and some examples, some samples, or ready to run examples. All this called basically comprises of LMS. They'll give you some basic understanding of products. They'll give you an option to take license certifications. All these things you can avail in this login. Once you go sign up and just sign in, and you'll be able to get these things. Once you get this, you can react even after 60 days. This particular account you lost control after 60 days. Again, you can go ahead and reactivate it. It will just activate in 5 to 10 days. And one thing we need to note is, whatever the processes you are creating in Boomi, it will nowhere store in your local machines. It will always store in Boomi cloud. We cannot get that to export to a local machine. It's other integration tool, something like if you go to MuleSoft, have an AnyPoint studio will come there. You can use in local machine. You can store your projects, but you cannot store your projects anywhere in local. You'll always store in Boomi cloud. Even we cannot take up. You want to take anything backup, what you need to do is like this. You can same username can add to multiple accounts. You can copy all the developed processes, all these artifacts, one account to other account you can copy. It cannot be downloaded. That is the one problem, but I don't know whether problem will be sorted in the feature releases, but that's how it should be there. all the integration code, everything will be stored within a Boomi. So that is the reason Boomi itself will provide the version control system also. If you go with other integration tools, SVN or other version control systems will be using, but you cannot achieve this here. But to some extent, Boomi already provided version control, but that not good enough to compare with other outside tools. That's the thing. I think I unable to give you a demo here, otherwise I could have created some process and show you. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to cover today. Any questions I can accept.
Sir,
Go ahead.
hello sir.
చెప్పండి.
సార్ ఇది మనకి ఆటమ్ మాలిక్యూల్ అంటే క్లౌడ్ అండ్ యాప్ లాగానా సార్ ఇది?
No. మీకు సర్వర్ వన్స్ మీ భూమి ప్రాసెస్ చేసిన తర్వాత భూమి రన్ చేయాలి కదా, భూమి ప్రాసెస్ రన్ చేయాలంటే ఇఫ్ యూ నీడ్ రన్ ఎనీ ప్రాసెసెస్ యూ నీడ్ ఎ సర్వర్. దట్ ఈస్ ద సర్వర్ కాన్సెప్ట్ యూ విల్ బి ఇన్స్టాలింగ్ atom or molecule. Atom and molecule both మీకు రెండు మీ క్లౌడ్ లో ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసుకోవచ్చు, రెండు లోకల్ లో ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. Atom is a single instance. That is depends on you. Lower environment కి వెళ్ళేటప్పుడు SIT డెవలప్మెంట్ కి వెళ్ళేటప్పుడు సింగిల్ ఇన్స్టెన్స్ పెడతారు. సో బికాస్ ఈవెన్ ఇఫ్ atom is down, you don't need have any business impact. This atom and molecule both are runtimes, two different runtimes. But here atom is single node, molecule is a cluster mode.
ఓకే సార్. అంటే మనకి ఇది మనం లోకల్లో సేవ్ చేసుకోవడానికి రాదు కదా సార్, ఓన్లీ భూమి క్లౌడ్ లోనే సేవ్ అవుతుందని చెప్పారు కదా?
You cannot save code anywhere. There is one more thing called flow I mentioned, right? So flow, there is an option called flow. You can export and you can even import also. Flow is basically BPM product, a business process management. There you have an option to import it, but basically that product was acquired from Manyhu is one of the company. So it provides this is the BPM product. This have an option, this have option of import. Boomi lo meeku export chesukoraniki undi gaani ippudu you cannot import it. Boomi acquires Manyhu. This is the part of flow. Flow lo meeku import chesukoraniki option undi. Export cheyochu Boomi lo kuda. Export every process you are creating, it will an XML file gets created. Export chesko, but import option ledu. Export option also last 1-2 years I think introduced.
Okay sir. Yeah.
So it's
export option ఉంది కానీ import option లేదంట.
Very easy tool to learn. You don't need any prerequest. You can jump directly and start learning this tool. Hardly it's like maybe 25-30 hours will be sufficient. But again, you can take your time to go through your processes, and a lot of examples will be given by Boomi, and a lot of communities also there. If you go to here, this is another option here. Documentation is the one. This documentation public access. You can just access doc.help.boomi.com. You'll get complete product access, complete product documentation. Support is any issues. Any issues you can raise a ticket with them, because you by default you will be part of some premium support will be there. You can cases with them. If you have something issues in production, you can raise the cases with them. They can give us some timeline. Based on that, they will help you resolve it. Community is basically called forums. You have a lot of knowledge public articles will be there. All the developers, you can post your questions and you can see the previously answered questions and you will get a lot of answers. Training is the one what I was meant to say initially. This is the one login.
Okay.
The way what you are seeing Boomi is very mature compared to 2012-13. Lot of enhancements has made, lot of more user friendly. Any other questions?
No sir. From my son, no.
Okay, anyone has any questions? I think that's all.
సార్ కొంచెం తెలుగులో చెప్తే బాగుంటుంది కదా సార్?
పూర్తిగా ఇంగ్లీష్ లో కాకుండా
అందరూ తెలుగులో అని చెప్తాను. ఎవరైనా వేరే వాళ్ళు ఉంటే వాళ్ళకి ప్రాబ్లం అవుతుంది కదా. Demo we don't know, who and all from which region. Most I can see it's mostly Andhra side, but yeah, అందరు కంఫర్టబుల్ తెలుగు చెప్తాను, దాంట్లో నో ప్రాబ్లం.
ఓకే సార్.
Okay, then I think if nobody has any further questions, we can close.
Sorry, sir.
Okay, go ahead. Naveen. Anand, please.
What are the major services we can use with this integration tool, sir? Like some example, some of major services.
Okay, see this integration Dellboomi used in every sector.
Okay.
Every sector. Even London Stock Exchange also will use Boomi.
Okay.
American Airlines also will use Boomi. Lot of pharmaceuticals, Intel also use Boomi. Lot of companies, even there are engineering companies, McDermott, like other engineering companies also, that even telecom industry is also there. You can see a lot of clients. You can just go to here, Boomi website, and you can see what are the customers. You see the complete information about them.
Okay.
Go to Boomi website and you can see the customers. You can see different sectors. It's not limited to any particular sectors. You can see, go to customers here.
Okay.
You can just click on customers and see what and all different customers are there.
Okay.
It should be, yeah, you can see a lot of things.
Okay.
So you can see industries, agriculture, a lot of industries. API management. Let's say if you just select, API management or integration, you can just select it. You can see select a lot of industries are there. Let's say if you just click on show all, you can see that.
Okay.
So it is there in everywhere. We are very well known, I think nowadays. Click. Scoot is Singapore Airlines.
Okay.
There are some universities also there. So a lot of things are there. It's not like specific to any. Initially it was, since 16-17 onwards, it was boom mark like anything. Initially they didn't have an trial account access platform. In 14-15 ముందు అసలు భూమి ట్రయల్ అకౌంట్ ఉండేది కాదు. ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ మీరు నేర్చుకోవాలంటే ప్లాట్ఫామ్ కావాలి, ప్లాట్ఫామ్ ఉండేది కాదు. ఈ ఫ్రీ ట్రయల్ ఇస్తారు, ఫ్రీ ట్రయల్ లో ఉండేది అట్లీస్ట్ ఒక క్లయింట్ సైడ్ POC చేయడానికి అవసరమైన ఎండ్ టు ఎండ్ కూడా ఉండేది కాదు. సో I think Boomi realized that problem, and a lot of customers are needs at least some sort of an access. I think that's where they came up with this one. I pause this thing called సర్వీసెస్ అండ్ ట్రైనింగ్ కాన్సెప్ట్ అక్కడి నుంచే వచ్చింది, LMS. ఆ పాయింట్ ఆఫ్ ఎప్పుడైతే LMS యాక్సెస్ వచ్చిందో, సర్టిఫికేషన్స్ అన్ని Boomi సర్టిఫికేషన్స్ అన్ని ఓపెన్ సర్టిఫికేషన్స్. అప్పటి నుంచి మా యాక్చువల్గా కస్టమర్స్ ఎక్కువ అయ్యారు ఆల్మోస్ట్. బికాస్ once we have a customer, if any customer wanted to see the product, if you don't know how to use the product and you don't know if you cannot able to implement any POC, how your use case will be implemented with this particular tool, nobody will go and take this product license, right? So initially without license they will not give you anything, right? So at least we need to do one POC, one use case for that particular client, see how this tool is fitting into their environment, and then they can go it. So ఇంతకు ముందు ఫ్రీ ట్రయల్ లో ఆప్షన్స్ చాలా లిమిటెడ్ యాక్సెస్ ఉండేవి. ఈ రియల్ టైమ్ లో POC చేసి డెమో క్లయింట్ కి ప్రొజెక్ట్ చేయాలి అనుకుంటే ఈ ఉన్న ఫీచర్ సరిపోయే కాదు. సో విత్ దిస్ సర్వీసెస్ అండ్ ట్రైనింగ్ అండ్ LMS అకౌంట్ యూ గెట్ ఎ ఫుల్ ఫ్లెడ్జ్డ్ Boomi environment access వస్తుంది. సో యూ కెన్ డూ POCs, యూ కెన్ డిప్లాయ్, మీకు అంతా వస్తుంది. నో ఇష్యూస్ ఆన్ దిస్. బేసిక్ ఫండమెంటల్ వాట్ ఈస్ Boomi అండ్ ఆల్ దీస్ థింగ్స్ ఆల్సో మీకు అన్ని బేసిక్ వీడియోస్ లో ఉంటాయి. బట్ ఫర్దర్ మీకు హ్యాండ్స్ ఆన్ ఇన్స్ట్రక్టర్ లెడ్ వీడియోస్ కావాలనుకుంటే సమ్ డిపెండ్స్ ఆన్ ప్యాకేజ్ బట్టి $500 $400 కోర్సెస్ బట్టి ప్యాకేజెస్ ఉంటాయి. బట్ అవి అడిషనల్
Uh,
ట్రైనింగ్ కింద ఇస్తారు, బట్ దిస్ విల్ బి లిమిటెడ్ వన్.
సార్ దీంట్లో కోడింగ్ ఏమైనా ఉంటుందా? షెల్ స్క్రిప్టింగ్ ఏమైనా అలాంటివి ఉంటాయా?
సెల్ స్క్రిప్టింగ్ ట్రిగ్గర్ చేయాలంటే ఆప్షన్ ఉంది. యూ కెన్ యూజ్ ఇట్, సమ్ సిస్టమ్ కమాండ్స్ యూ కెన్ రన్ ఇట్, బట్ సెల్ స్క్రిప్ట్ రాయాల్సిన అవసరం ఉంటుంది. సరే, అగైన్ కంప్లీట్లీ డిపెండ్స్ ఆన్ యూస్ కేస్. సెల్ స్క్రిప్ట్ రాయాల్సిన అవసరం అయితే ఉండకపోవచ్చు కానీ, బట్ కస్టమ్ స్క్రిప్టింగ్ భూమిలో జావా స్క్రిప్ట్ ప్లస్ గ్రూవీ స్క్రిప్ట్ రెండు ఉంటాయి. సో సమ్ ఎక్స్టెంట్ అయితే మీరు సింపుల్ ఇఫ్ ఎల్స్ కండిషన్స్, మ్యాపింగ్ ట్రాన్స్ఫర్మేషన్స్ కోసం అయితే రాసుకోవాల్సి ఉంటుంది. లెట్స్ సే మీకు సోర్స్
బేసిక్ లైక్
సారీ గో హెడ్.
అంటే బేసిక్స్
will be sufficient. Maybe if you came from in a computer background,
Okay.
C++, if you would have learned in education, that also will be sufficient. Or else you can just take your YouTube, any channel, just give you the basic things in hardly even 2 to 3 days. Basic core Java skills they'll explain. That would be sufficient. Only let's say simple example. Okay, let source system Salesforce. Let's say Salesforce is giving you some flag, something like active, inactive. Active is basically this customer is active, inactive is your customer is inactive. But your backend system, let's say, the SAP, let's say, accepting the flag as one is for active, 0 is for inactive. You don't have the translation. If this particular field is active, send 1. If this particular field is inactive, send 0. This is kind of simple transformation. ఈ ట్రాన్స్ఫర్మేషన్స్ మ్యాపింగ్ చేసేటప్పుడు ఉండవు అనమాట. సేల్స్ ఫోర్స్ నుంచి ఎస్ఏపి ఫార్మాట్లకు డేటా ట్రాన్స్లేషన్ చేసేటప్పుడు ఇవి ఉండవు. సో ఇక్కడ మీరు స్మాల్ స్క్రిప్ట్స్ రాసుకుంటారు ఇఫ్ ఎనీ సచ్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ ట్రాన్స్ఫర్మేషన్స్ అవసరం అయితే. అదర్వైజ్ మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద టైం కస్టమ్ స్క్రిప్టింగ్ అవసరం ఉండదు. ఓకే, then I will just wind up. I just stop.
Hello, sir. Hello.
చెప్పండి.
అదే ఇంతకుముందు మీరు చెప్పారు కదా, ఫ్రీ ట్రయల్ వర్షన్ కాకుండా ఇక్కడ సైన్ అప్ అని వస్తుంది, దాంట్లో వెళ్ళి చేసుకోండి అనేసి. నేను చూసినప్పుడు ఇక్కడ ఫ్రీ ట్రయల్ తప్ప సైన్ అప్ అనే ఆప్షన్ కనపడడం లేదు. దాన్ని ఎలా ఓపెన్ చేయాలి చెప్తారు?
ఇక్కడ చూడండి, భూమి
ఇదే పేజ్ లో సార్, భూమి సర్వీసెస్ లోనే ఉన్నాను సార్. నేను
వెబ్సైట్కి వెళ్ళండి, సర్వీసెస్ అండ్ ట్రైనింగ్కి వెళ్ళండి.
ఓకే,
దాని మీద జస్ట్ క్లిక్ చేయండి. సర్వీసెస్ ట్రైనింగ్ మీద క్లిక్ చేసినాక మీకు ఇక్కడ ట్రైనింగ్ అండ్ సర్టిఫికేషన్ వస్తుంది. జస్ట్ క్లిక్ ఆన్ ట్రైనింగ్ అండ్ సర్టిఫికేషన్. జస్ట్ క్లిక్ ఆన్ సైన్ అప్.
ఓకే సార్, థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Okay. Any other questions?
సార్
చెప్పండి.
సార్ IAAS కి ఐపాస్ కి SAAS కి డిఫరెన్స్ ఏం సార్? మనం ఓన్లీ ఐపాస్ ఒకటి వాడతాం కదా డెల్ బూమ్ లో.
ఐపాస్ అంటే మీకు ఓన్లీ ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ ఉంటుంది. దాని మీద మీకు ఏదన్నా ఇప్పుడు సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసుకోవాలంటే సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఎవరు, ఓన్లీ ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ ఇస్తారు.
ఓకే సార్.
లెట్స్ ఏ సింపుల్ గా చెప్పాలంటే మీకు ల్యాప్టాప్ ఇచ్చారు. ఓకే, ఆ ల్యాప్టాప్ మీకు ఓన్లీ హార్డ్ డిస్క్ ఉంది, జస్ట్ ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ ఉంది, నో అదర్ థింగ్స్ దేర్. You want to anything you want to install, or you want to play game something, right? You need to install a game. That is called a platform, integration platform. The software, you only plain laptop infrastructure. దాని మీద మీరు ఆ గేమ్ ఇచ్చారు అనుకోండి, ఆ గేమ్ సంబంధించి లెట్స్ గేమ్ ఒక జావాలో డెవలప్ చేశాను, లెట్స్ అజ్యూమ్ ఆ జావా ప్యాకేజ్ ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసుకునేది ఐపాస్ లో కన్సిడర్ చేసుకోండి. దాని మీద మీరు గేమ్ డెవలప్ చేశారు, గేమ్ ఈజ్ యువర్ ఎండ్ ప్రొడక్ట్, దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ బేసికలీ సాఫ్ట్వేర్ సర్వీస్. సో ఆ మీరు ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ మీద ఒక ప్రొడక్ట్ ని డిజైన్ చేసి ఆ ప్రొడక్ట్ ని ఎండ్ ప్రొడక్ట్ మీ అది. సో ఇప్పుడు సేల్స్ ఫోర్స్ చూసుకుంటే ఫిట్ ఇన్ టు ద SAS కేటగిరీ, సాఫ్ట్వేర్ సర్వీస్. వాళ్ళే ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ ఉంటుంది, వాళ్ళ ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ మీద సేల్స్ ఫోర్స్ సంబంధించిన ప్యాకేజ్ ఆల్రెడీ ఆ ప్లాట్ఫామ్ రన్ అవడానికి కావాల్సిన టూల్స్ సాఫ్ట్వేర్స్ అంతా ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసినప్పుడు దాని మీద సేల్స్ ఫోర్స్ ప్యాకేజ్ అప్లికేషన్ డెవలప్ చేసి ఆ అప్లికేషన్ మొత్తం మీద రన్ అవుతూ ఉంటుంది. సో ఇట్స్ సాస్ బేస్డ్. కొత్తగా డిజైన్ చేసి ఏమి ఉండదు, ఉన్నదాన్ని కస్టమైజ్ చేస్తారు సేల్స్ ఫోర్స్ లో. You're not going to build an application. Salesforce is an application. You'll just use చేస్తారు కొంత డిఫరెంట్ కస్టమర్ కి మీరు కొన్ని కస్టమైజేషన్ చేస్తారు.
సార్ మనము ఐపాస్ యూజ్ చేస్తూ మనము వాళ్ళు కస్టమైజ్ చేస్తారు సార్, మనం అప్డేట్ చేయడానికి ఉంటుందా సార్ ఇది?
ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ యూజ్ చేసి ఏం చేస్తారు, ఒక కస్టమర్ కి సంబంధించిన రిక్వైర్మెంట్ బిల్డ్ చేస్తారు, బిల్డ్ చేస్తారు. లెట్స్ సే మీరు లెట్స్ సే మీకు సేమ్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇంటర్నెట్ బ్యాంకింగ్ ఉంది అనుకోండి. మీరు ఓన్లీ ఇప్పుడు ఇంటర్నెట్ బ్యాంకింగ్ లోనే మీరు చేస్తున్నారు. ఓకే, ఇంటర్నెట్ బ్యాంకింగ్ ఒకటే యాక్సెస్ అవుతుంది. సో టుమారో అడిషనల్ ఇంటర్నెట్ బ్యాంకింగ్ లో ఏదైనా పీపీఎఫ్ ఇంకొకటి సంథింగ్ ఏదైనా అడిషనల్ ప్రొడక్ట్ ఇంట్రొడ్యూస్ చేయాలనుకోండి.
ఓకే సార్.
ఇంట్రొడ్యూస్ చేయాలనుకున్నప్పుడు ఆ సర్వీసెస్ భూమి ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేసి మిడిల్ వేర్ ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేసి సర్వీసెస్ ఫ్రంట్ ఎండ్కి ఇస్తారు. సో ఫ్రంట్ ఎండ్ లో నుంచి ఆ సర్వీసెస్ న్యూ ఫీచర్స్ యాడ్ అవుతా ఉంటాయి. ఇప్పుడు ఎప్పుడైతే న్యూ ఫీచర్స్ యాడ్ అవుతుందంటే నథింగ్ బట్ బ్యాక్ ఎండ్ లో మీకు దానికి సంబంధించిన సర్వీసెస్ భూమి బిల్డ్ చేస్తారు. ఆ భూమి దానికి కావాల్సిన బ్యాక్ ఎండ్ సిస్టమ్స్ వస్తాయి, మీకు అన్ని సర్వీసెస్ రిలీజ్ చేస్తారు, పబ్లిష్ చేస్తారు. మీరు వన్స్ ప్రొడక్ట్ ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసిన తర్వాత ప్రొడక్ట్ మీరు ఏం చేయరు, మీరు ప్రొడక్ట్ మాడిఫికేషన్స్ ఏం చేయరు. ఏదైనా భూమి ఏదైనా ప్యాకేజెస్ కనుక అవి వస్తే భూమి మీ ప్లాట్ఫామ్ అంతా భూమి ప్లాట్ఫామ్ వాడతారు కాబట్టి వాళ్ళే ఆటోమేటిక్ గా మీకు షెడ్యూల్ చేస్తారు. రిలీజెస్ ఎవ్రీ మంత్ పర్టికులర్ టైంలో ఈఎస్టీ టైంలో షెడ్యూల్ చేస్తారు. సో ఆటోమేటిక్ ఇన్స్టాల్ అయిపోతాయి, మీరేం చేయాల్సిన పని లేదు.
ఓకే ఓకే.